I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into a powerful book, a wonderful book. It is called The Curse of the Cat's Eye. It's written by Baseerat Javed. It is a captivating children's adventure filled with magic, mystery, and timeless lessons. It follows Samir, a kind bookbinder, and his brave son Ramie as they journey from their village to a mystical port, confronting an ancient curse that transforms Ramie from a curious boy into a courageous hero. This isn't your typical fairy tale. It's a rich exploration of Indian culture, self-discovery, and the power of resilience that will resonate with readers of all ages. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her amazing book. The links are below this interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Baseerat, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me today.
It's my
It's a
pleasure.
pleasure to.
This is such a great book. It is a wonderful story, but it also immerses children and their families in Indian culture and the setting of Gandikota Fort. Tell us a little bit about the story. Give us an overview.
It's a story pretty much written for preteens, young adults, and it's a fantasy adventure, and it's has Indian mythology. I love Indian mythology, and I love fairy tales, so I kind of brought two of them together. So it's about a boy, young teenager, and a cursed princess who actually turns into a cat, has been turned into a cat. And this prince, Ramie, his father is a bookbinder who embarks on this book. And he, through that book, they discover that there is a way to break the curse. And they both then embark on an adventure and break the curse, and the princess, the curse is broken. And through that whole process, it's like it's a very good adventure they have together, father and son.
Yeah,
And so yeah.
absolutely. Tell us about the
Mhm.
inspiration behind it. Is this kind of rooted in kind of folk tales you've heard before or something completely
Yeah.
new that you imagined? Tell us about that.
I grew up in India. I was raised by my grandmother for the 8, 9 years of my young, childhood years.
Mhm.
And her routine every day was an hour before sunset. She used to gather all the neighborhood kids and tell story pretty much every single day of the year. And those stories went on for weeks at a time, story within a story, it never ending. And we could never get enough of them.
Mhm.
So I love storytelling, and I think I got that little bit of her talent, never as much as she had, but I do the same thing with my nieces and nephews, constantly telling them stories. And actually, I've dedicated a story to each of my 14 nieces and nephews in the last 20, 30 years. So storytelling has been very much part of my life, and I love storytelling.
Yeah.
And, I enjoy it very much. Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been very
So my
fun
grandmother
writing.
and Indian mythology and all this. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's
Fun.
wonderful.
And I grew up reading comic books.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Well, it's nice that
So
you've taken this
yeah.
great tradition and have put it into print. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No wrong. So in India, for 25 cents, like base Indian currency, I could rent a comic book.
Mhm.
So every evening, as soon as I came back from school, I went to this corner neighborhood, small bookstall kind of, and rented comic books. And they're on mythology and Archie comics books. Pretty much that's what I grew up on. And then later on, Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys. And reading has been a part of my life, and it still is today. I love reading, and I love Indian mythology basically, and storytelling and writing. So it all came together, I guess.
It did. It's a wonderful story. It all worked out,
Yeah.
all of the backstory influences that you had as well. What message do you hope readers take away from Rami's transformation into a hero?
I think what I want the readers to take away is that it's nothing is impossible,
Mhm.
and it's just a way of looking at things, perspective. And with strong faith and courage, you can overcome pretty much anything and everything.
Yeah.
And whether you reach the end goal or not, the journey itself is worth it. And most of the time, the end result will be positive. But even if it's not, it's okay, But believing in oneself, and reaching for your dreams, taking risks, and having strong, willpower and courage. I think that's what I was hoping the readers would get from that. And family values. To me, family values is the basis for everything in life. You have to have a strong family, and I try to emphasize that family togetherness, unity, and struggles together and overcoming them together is very much, lesson I would like the kids of today to take from this book, and I hope they do.
I think they will. Absolutely. Have you envisioned this as a film or a TV series or anything like that?
I have been thinking for this since actually Aladdin movie came out, Jasmine. It's been in
Hmm.
my mind that in the lineup of Disney princes, Indian princess is missing part. And I was hoping someone would come up with a great fairy tale, adventure, fantasy, and that would be the next movie princess, an Indian princess named Kamala, who is in this book. So when that didn't happen for over a decade or so, I said, you know what, I'm going to write a story, and I hope somebody has the same sees what I see from this book. It has the potential to be a great next create a next Indian fairy tale, and I hope somebody does, and that's my hopes and inspiration for this book.
Well, wonderful. Well, you've done the hard work. You've created the book. You've put it out there. So all you
Yeah,
need is somebody in Hollywood to take a listen, somebody at Disney
yeah,
to create the
yeah,
next great,
yeah.
wonderful Indian adventure. I think that would be terrific. Tell me a little bit about your writing career. Is this the first time you've written a book or published a book? Tell us about that.
Uh, this is not the first time I actually had written a book. It's a spiritual book for adults that 15, 16 years ago, a long time ago. But writing has been something I've been doing all my life. I have started writing my memoir, and I work on that a bit. I have recipe books. I have only one daughter and two sons, so she wanted her own recipe books. I've written a couple of like 100, 200 recipes for her. So recipes and writing, whether it's recipes, children's books, memoirs, or daily notes or whatnot. I love writing. I
Hmm.
love the penmanship, the all that thing that goes with it. Writing and reading. That's been very much a part of my daily routine.
What was it like writing this book?
It changed a lot. It
Mhm.
started with just as a tiny book 10 years ago about for young kids, 3,000 words. And then it went to, 30, 40. I don't really know how many. But then it evolved. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to write a full like story with the vision of being the next, major like princess.
Mhm.
That's what I imagine. Indian princess. I need an Indian princess out there. So
Mhm.
that was my motivation for it, and I created the characters and all that, and then hopefully, kids and preteens, and they'll love it. I hope.
Yeah, I think so. Do you think you'll write a sequel to this book? It seems like you could do a sequel.
I did leave the opening to leave the sequel, and I have ideas like I want to go into mythology of different cultures, and I
Mhm.
want the book to be the basis of it. Like I did keep it opening with the sequel in mind, but I have not decided on the whole plot or did 100% on it. But I have some ideas. I would like to the bookbinder being the main starting point where he stumbles upon book every now and then that takes him to a different adventure, different culture, different mythologies, and adventure, fantasy, fiction. Like I have that kind of sequel in mind, but it hasn't delved into full story yet. But
Mhm.
hopefully it will, depending on how good this book does.
Yep. Well, fans, if you love this book, hopefully there's more. Buy the book, share the book, spread the
Mhm.
word of the book. The name of the book is The Curse of the Cat's Eye. It is a captivating children's adventure, a young adult adventure, filled with magic, mystery, and timeless lessons. It follows Samir, a kind bookbinder, and his brave son, Rami, as they journey from their village to a mystical fort confronting an ancient curse that transforms Rami from a curious boy into a courageous hero. This is not a typical fairy tale. It's a story that is a rich exploration of Indian culture, self-discovery, and the power of resilience that will resonate with readers of all ages. Baseerat, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time, and to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.